you know. And in this episode of Lifestyles, I want to actually talk about something a little bit different. I like to talk about mental health and what this place has done for me. Many of you don't know, but I have gone through quite a bit of traumatic stuff in my life. Faced my own mortality more than once. Once you do that, your entire life changes, and I'm actually quite happy about that. I live out in the country now, and this is actually one of the things I wanted to talk about. I wanted to take the stigma out of mental health issues. For example, anxiety, depression, and all those things. We're not necessarily all crazy. Quite often, the reasons why some people have become, to some degree, impacted to their mental health is not necessarily some chemical imbalance in our brains or anything else like that, but quite often it is the cost of being a survivor, of getting through and surviving and moving forward from things we experience, be it abuse of any kind, really, bullying, just trauma, period. And we will talk about that at some point a little bit later, but I just wanted to start taking away some of the stigma around it. When this is actually from my own experience, I try to help myself out because after, I was attacked, almost died, and because the concussions I suffered from as a result of that, my memory started going, my short-term memory was a little bit off. So, knowing the way I am, I tried to help myself, not through medication or anything else like that. I want to understand the root cause of the problem and how to really fix it. And as part of that, I started doing some research into reading, or actually in my case listening, because I was getting so many hello? Let's look at this. My teeth are broken. It's the last part of it. That can be fixed. I'm alive. That's the big thing. So I just want to start taking some of the stigma, and one of the things that I've done, and part of my research, is that I don't know how many of you know that when it comes to mental health issues, we always think mental health is in the brain, right? Well, it is, because we're talking about the amygdala, which is basically, it's in your brain. It's what produces sorry, I'm gonna start walking. What produces the chemical that actually makes us do flight or fright or flee. It used to be, back when we were in caveman days, it was actually quite important at the time, because it's what made us walk away or run away and not be eaten by other animals. Nowadays, it produces this chemicals that makes us vulnerable to, in my case, anxiety, trauma, in ways that I would freeze, I'd forget. And it's interesting that the brain when it comes to mental health, it is the one, when you have a heart, how do I put it? When you have a heart problem, heart is the very first thing that the doctors examine, right? ECGs and all that other stuff. But when it comes to mental health, the brain is the only organ they don't look at. They don't. They sit there and try to fix you up and figure out what else can be wrong. So, as part of that, and as part of not wanting to be constantly taking medication and everything else, I wanted to see if there was a better way to deal with that. And this is what I found. This land here is one of the examples. And it is actually very true that the environment by which we are surrounded by is very, very crucially important to our healing. And yes, you do have to heal. Doesn't matter how strong you are. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm a pretty strong person, but even I fall apart. So, being out here, being in the nature is exactly what helps me. I want to start having conversations around the subjects. Specifically, after I got thinking, one of my colleagues is actually mentioning prepare yourself for backlash. And I thought about that quite a few subjects that I'm going to talk about. You know what? After thinking about it, yeah, I don't care about a backlash because I believe we need to touch those subjects that people don't talk about, specifically because of that. Because maybe a backlash, maybe stirring the pot, is exactly what so many of our subjects that we don't want to talk about, the taboo things, exactly what it needs. In my case, I want to talk about the Black history. Yeah, I'm a white chick. Prepare yourself for backlash? Not a problem. I personally believe there's nothing, there's not a subject that we should not be able to talk about as humans. Because it's not a color thing. It's not on all that stuff. Yes, it is mistrusting. But if I was to mistrust every single guy just because of what happened to me, well, nobody would ever have a chance. And I refuse to do that because that victimizes me. That's me living in the past. That's me living in the victim state mentality, and I refuse to do that. Yeah, it'll hurt, and it did, and it has. And at some point, you know what? Gotta get up, get off that ground. Rocky, one of my favorite lines. It ain't about how hard you can get hit, but how hard you get hit. Oh, I love this. And keep moving forward. I think that was from one of his last movies. Rocky has been such a huge, the movie itself, huge part of inspiration for me. I actually flew down to Philadelphia and listening to all of those lines, I actually went up and down those stairs. So, this is the beginning of another subject that we should not apparently talk about. So, I dare you to do otherwise. Let's shake it up. You know what? If we gotta stir the pot, let's do and stir the pot. So here is me stirring the pot. Mental illness always has a reason. There's always an underlining and foundation stuff. That doesn't mean that we all have to go on all kinds of medication, lithium and all that other stuff. No. We have to learn how to help ourselves. And by the way, yeah, we'll talk about that the next time when it comes to, I really want to touch on the subject that brain is the one thing that people don't look at when it comes to mental health issues. If it's a heart issue, we look at the heart. It is the only disease on the planet where we do not look at the actual organ itself. We just look at the box. And yeah, okay, that might be fake. And it's actually, there is so much more to talk about that. So this is just the beginning. For me, you know what? Country, being out here, sometimes when I'm enraged, when I'm pissed off, when I am just so tired of being constantly kicked in the teeth, or the lack of them, I come out here. Yeah, if I need to take my anger out, you think I don't take these trees down sometimes? Yes, I do. I'm a city chick, a boardroom chick that moved into a country, and you know what? Taking it by the storm. So let's take the whole world by the storm. That's me, just for now. Let's start stirring shit.